Please, can you hear me?
Good morning, Femi. We can see your screen.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good morning once again. My name is Oluwafemi Olafusi. I am the head of technology for Innovate Solution. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. We usually have this every month.
No.
Hello? The organization is Innovate Solutions Limited. A little about our company. We are a full-fledged IT company with focus on cybersecurity and managed services. So today we'll be looking at how we can address the skill gaps in Nigerian small businesses and ways by which we can address those gaps. So today we'll be looking at, our discussion points will be what exactly is the reality of the skill shortage, what is the cause and the impact in the industry. We'll also be exploring the possible solutions, looking at actions and strategies. Also, we're looking at cybersecurity maturity assessment, and also where my organization Innovate Solutions can come in to help. So for the course of this presentation, we'll be working with data and statistics from vendor agnostic surveys that were done by quite a number of major cybersecurity organizations as references for today's presentation. So going to it fully, small business organization, there is a general assumption, the general saying for most small businesses that they are small in terms of their size and they don't have the financial capacity. So attackers, cyber criminals will not be interested in them. Advisory will not be looking into them because they are small. They will likely be looking at bigger organizations, but this is not true. In fairly recent time, in the past 4 years or so, there has been great attention to SMBs. A number of the cybersecurity vendors are publicizing, several reports that shows the attack space on small businesses. In fact, regulators have also started paying attention. A typical example in Nigeria is Central Bank of Nigeria. Recently, about 2-3 years ago, they formulated a policy that says all OFIs, other financial institutions. Please kindly mute your mic. And other financial institutions and microfinance bank, which are under the controls of the Central Bank of Nigeria, they made a pronouncement, a regulation framework that all of them must comply with the risk-based cybersecurity assessment every year. Because Central Bank has realized that the over 1,000 other financial institutions and MFBs also carry a number of data of financial information, and there's a risk there for them by attacks or by these cyber criminals, and a lot of people's money will be lost. So they had to put some regulation in place. That is a focus on SMB, because most of the 1,000 OFIs and MLB are small organizations, and quite a number of regulators are already looking into that because of the large number of reports that is out there about attack on SMBs. So that assumption is wrong, that because of size and financial capacity, small businesses will not be exposed to cyber attack. And the major challenge is because there is no required cybersecurity skills for most of those SMBs. And we'll be looking at some of the myths and the beliefs and the facts that are there from some of this research that has come out. Some of the MSB, I said earlier, believe that, okay, attackers don't care about their data because they are small. But the truth is that these attackers, they are not just looking at whether an organization is small or big. What they are constantly doing is that they are constantly probing, they are constantly looking at vulnerabilities, they are constantly looking at loopholes, and wherever they see it, they are going to attack. So small business or big business does not fall out of the radar of these attackers. So it is not a case of every data, no matter how small, is a sensitive data and is valuable. Because you are talking about employees record, customer record, financial transaction, these are what the attackers are interested in. So whether it's MLB or SMB or large organization, you are prone to this attack. So and the challenge with SMB is that they don't have the technology, the personnel, so they are easy targets by these cyber criminals and attack. And large percentage of them used to fall for this attack. Another belief is that by most of the MFBs because they have firewalls and traditional firewalls, and they have some measure of antivirus in place, is sufficient for them to evade an attack. But the attack landscape, has evolved. Now we are talking about identity theft, stolen credentials, which are some of the highest ways by which attacks come into these days. Cybersecurity tools are required to be able to mitigate. High-end cybersecurity tools are required beyond just antivirus and firewall, which MFB usually have for effective defense. They need more than just this device, and they also need knowledgeable people to run them. Another myth is that they always say that, yes, if they are breached, if they are attacked, they will know. Yes, that is correct. You will know at a point, they will know at a point, but it could take a while. Sometimes it could take weeks or even months. Recently, a telco in Nigeria, big one, was attacked, and the first 2 days, the employees were thinking it's just a glitch or network issue, but it was a big ransomware attack that left them not able to do anything for almost a month. So that's a big organization. How much more a smaller organization? So that the fact is that you may be able to know at some time, but a lot of damage would have happened. IBM in one of their reports said that it takes an average of 194 days for you to detect a data breach. And when you even detect, it takes an average of 64 days to even contain it. So the longer these cyber criminals stay in your network or say your environment, the more damage they will be able to inflict. So knowing about the data breach is not enough. Another myth is that most of the SMB believe that they will be able to bounce back if they have an attack or from any attack that may come to them. The truth is that when there is an attack, yes, there will be downtime to business, productivity will be affected, profitability will be affected, there will be legal issues, and which can ultimately cause the small businesses to go down. 33% of respondents from the survey done by ECOX for Cyber Readiness Report 2023 shows that 33% of them actually said they will actually go down and not be able to survive cyber attack. So it is the same fate for all SMBs. So let's look at the numbers. The numbers are glaring. I captured some of the reports here. As you can see from IBM, IBM says average cost of data breach for small business is close to 4.88 million naira in USD for 2024 in their data breach report. CrowdStrike, in some of their surveys of cybersecurity as recent as May 2023, said that 50% of SMBs lack the resources to protect themselves from protect their business for within 24 hours. And most of the owners, more than 70% reported that they had several data breach in 2022 to 2023. And the major attack was ransomware attack. This was reported by CrowdStrike. And Tech Validate also did some sort of report around this and evaluation. One of them says that 1 out of every of those respondents say that they feel inadequately prepared for cyber attack. Most of the SMBs. So these are some of the data. But the fact there is that 33% of them said that they would likely or definitely run out of business if they suffer an attack because of the financial implication and other things that result if they have a cyber attack. So the risk is there. And maybe from these numbers we are seeing, maybe we should look at some of these risks too in details. So there are many risks that SMBs and larger organizations face. This report is by Sophos, independent report of IT players in SMB and large organizations conducted by Sophos that shows what kind of, in ranks of what organization perceives is their largest risk. For SMB, second on the rank for what they pass for SMBs, shortage of in-house cybersecurity skills and expertise is the second on the list, while the number one is zero-day threats. But if you look at for a larger organization, you are looking at it is the least of their worries because they already have in-house cybersecurity skill and experts averagely for a larger organization. But for a small organization, is second on the top of their concern. And the reason is this. Recently, we were doing an evaluation for an insurance company, and they requested for a configuration management tool. And we need to wonder why configuration management tool is because their major problem is security tools configuration. You have several infrastructure in place, and someone somewhere can just configure or make some changes to some software and hardware and can expose the network. And they also want to control unauthorized changes to the system that can leave them exposed. So they need to now have configuration management tool for the gamut of tools that they already have in their network for cybersecurity. But for SMB, that is not their problem. It's not number one on their priority. The else is that they don't even have in-house skills, in-house personnel with the right skills and expertise to stop problems. You can begin to ask yourself, what do you consider is your own top 3 cybersecurity risk that you face? That's the question I'm posing here. So you can just look at that. So let's look at, I think next is, what is the impact of this skills shortage as we have identified as the major issue for SMB? There are 2 areas of concern. One is the lack of expertise and lack of capacity. These are 2 major areas for SMBs in terms of skill shortage. So we'll be looking at them one by one, drilling down on reports by vendors of cybersecurity and other surveys that have been done around the world to look at, to confirm if this is indeed one of the some of the biggest challenges for skill shortage for SMBs. So starting with lack of expertise. From the survey done by CrowdStrike, Virtual Intelligence Briefing, they considered about less than 250 employees and 291 leaders, IT leaders in small business organizations. And from the survey, 99%, I mean, almost all of them said that, yes, they understand that they can be attacked, they are knowledgeable enough about cyber threats and what can happen to some extent. Yes. So drilling down, those that say they have this knowledge, only 83% of them actually have cybersecurity plan in place. Having cybersecurity plan in place doesn't necessarily mean you have set up infrastructure, systems, and facilities to actually execute that plan. So, but maybe on paper, they have it. And that's just the situation with most SMBs. It is always in paper. So out of these 83 respondents that have cybersecurity plan in place, only 42% of them actually engage in actually training, regular training to gain the right skills and expertise required. I mean, the cybersecurity literacy, the knowledge in order to face challenges that is happening. So there is actually high awareness of cybersecurity threats, but there's no action. And the security gap, the cybersecurity plan they have in place also have a gap, because out of these 85% that have cybersecurity plan in place, checking them and evaluating them, and with information they provided, only 25% is likely going to fall victim to breaches. So this is a high opener for SMBs and for what they have in place in terms of expertise. So more information on expertise, let's look at another vendor, Sophos. Sophos did a survey to look at the percentage of organizations and in terms of security operation tasks, challenges that they face, comparing large organizations of less close to 500 employees and above, an SMB of less than 500. And it shows that higher degree of expertise is required. And the truth is that for cybersecurity, to do cybersecurity, the bar is constantly getting higher. The cyber attack landscape is always changing. It's getting more and more complex. there is higher level of expertise required to tackle the challenges and to stop cyber attack. And small business indeed do not have this capacity compared to large businesses. So the picture here from Sophos shows that percentage of organizations as they struggle with different aspects of security operations. While large organizations struggle with security operation challenges, the SMBs suffer more because in SMBs, they have one or two people that is just in IT and doing IT and also cybersecurity at the same time. There's no opportunity for training, and so there's a lot of gap in their knowledge. And so, when such size is small, there's no room for peer-to-peer knowledge sharing or opportunity to learn from others. This is some of the challenges of SMBs in terms of expertise and skills required to face the challenges of cybersecurity today. So that's about lack of expertise. The other challenge is lack of capacity, which we mentioned earlier. And looking at the CrowdStrike survey reports that did, which we mentioned earlier, their report shows that 91% of small businesses use it firewall as their only tool for attending to cybersecurity issues, and 70% uses traditional antivirus. These are outdated tools that most SMB rely on. Modern threats today, modern cybersecurity issues today have moved away from normal malware that are dependent on files. We're talking about fileless malware. We are talking about credential theft. We are talking about zero-day exploits. And all these kind of attacks are powered by AI. So these commodity firewalls and traditional antivirus cannot attend to this problem. So from the evaluation done by CrowdStrike, only 11% of those people evaluated reported using AI-powered tools. So there's a very huge gap. There's a disconnect between the tools that the SMB depend on, that they are using, and the evolving threat landscape. There's a huge gap between the target, the threat that is targeting them, and the tools that they have in place. Further on, the evaluation shows that 1 out of every 5 of the SMB evaluated have just 6% of their budget on cybersecurity. See, so it trickles down like that. Yes, large organizations have higher budget to tackle cybersecurity, so which means they are likely going to have chance to have AI-powered tools to attend to the issues of today. But that is not the case with SMB. Let's look at another one. I think Sophos cybersecurity report for Asia and Pacific, Japan, also shows another major issue is that 91% of the attack that SMB faced happened outside business hour. These cyber criminals and attackers usually work during off business hours. After people have closed, they are called weekend warriors, nighttime warriors. They try to attack when they will not be spotted, so that they can have greater chance of success. So, and SMBs do not have round-the-clock coverage. They don't have round-the-clock system to be able to detect suspicious sign of maybe someone is trying to get into their network or their environment or moving through their system, so that they can see them and stop them before they breach into the network, or before they encrypt data, or before they install one backdoor or infiltrate their network. So they don't have that 24 hours round-the-clock system that can provide coverage for them. 91% of them said that ransomware attack that they experienced happened outside standard business hours, and weekends. And 33% of them from the survey said that they don't have, for the SMBs, they don't have any monitoring or investigating security system that can alert them if there's any attack, so that if they are exposed, they will be able to know, or that can stop it if they become vulnerable in the middle of the night. So this is some of the reports that further confirms lack of capacity as an issue for SMB. Outdated tools, round-the-clock coverage is a challenge, and of course, the budget. So having looked at the lack of expertise and the capacity issue, then what happens with these challenges is to look at the impact. What impact does this have on SMB? We still look at report of Sophos. I'm using Sophos and CrowdStrike because they are major player leaders in the quadrant for cybersecurity. And the report shows that, yes, lack of skills, capacity, etc., impacts smaller organizations than larger organizations, evident by what we have shown. But those that are hit more are the smallest organization. 29% of those with fewer than 25 employees, yes, definitely an SMB reported cyber ransomware attack, compared to 19% in the number of respondents and the evaluation they did. That's CrowdStrike report as at March, just a few months ago, from what the evaluation they did. And Sophos to have similar reports. Sophos report says that the percentage attack that resulted in their data being encrypted. I mean, after they have an attack, then their data encrypted, they don't have access to it anymore. They cannot function, they cannot work. It's 74%, which is higher for small business compared to large business. You would think that larger organization should have more, but for the small business, it is more. So the direct impact of skill shortage is more for smaller businesses even than larger businesses. So a little bit further on the impact, maybe we should just to drill down more. I'll look at 4 particular areas. One, of course, financial ruin and business closure. When a business has been attacked and probably they are asked to pay ransom payments and they begin to have a legal issue, sometimes they will need to hire an expert to clean up the mess that has happened. So for small business, this is a very huge cost to absorb. So it could even become a liquidation event or a close down event for a small business. Some of the statistics from IBM says that 60% of small business go out of business within 6 months of severe cyber attack. So after cyber attack, they may just be managing, but after 6 months, they go down. That is what the report says. So financial ruin and business closure is some of the impact. Some of the impact on small businesses. So, of course, there will be operational disruption and downtime. An attack that halts or prevents them running business, that causes business to shut down, customer data becomes inaccessible, the employee cannot work anymore. So all this will ultimately lead to loss of revenue and productivity. When business stop making money, they may not be able to recover from it. And so it will ultimately lead to loss of sales, crippling of operation. So it's one of the impacts of small businesses. So another one is reputational damage and loss of customer trust. The statistics says that consumers says that they are not likely going to do business with a customer that has suffered severe cyber attack. They will not go back to them. So leading to long-term loss by customer, by the company, and even brand damage, because the trust is no more there, because their data is now exposed. There's a breach of or shatter of their trust. Because their personal information is compromised. Customer will often leave that business and go elsewhere. So another one, we just take for regulatory concerns, legal and regulatory consequences. If a business even eventually maybe recover from the cyber attack and maybe sort all the financial requirements, but they will still face penalties. So that penalty, for example, will be a major issue, and cost of legal battles, regulatory fine can be a major issue and can even cause the business to eventually close down. So this penalty can be more expensive for small business compared to big business. I have a graph here that shows a report from IBM if you look at it from 2022 to 2025, the first part, which is the loss of business costs, you will see about 1.5 million is almost equivalent to the cost of detecting and escalating that problem. Then almost the same cost to post-breach response. I mean, the response after you have now detected and escalated and you are now responding, then you now begin to notify people of what has happened. This, yes, can easily be managed maybe by large organization, but for small organization, that the cost of the attack is almost going to be equivalent to the cost of detecting and stopping the breach and notification, can run down that business easily. So it's not something a small business will be able to take. So let's look at the solution. We have talked about the challenges. We have talked about what are the issues that SMB are facing. We have shared so many data. So how do we address these skill gaps, which is as a result of lack of expertise and lack of capacity? I know some school of thought will say maybe you should hire additional staff or bring in new talent. That is a hard sale, because it's not a viable option for small businesses, because the cost of bringing additional cybersecurity staff may be a budget, an overhead, may increase the cost of employment for SMB. Large organization may be able to do it. Another challenge is that even the new talent, the skilled cybersecurity personnel out there, they don't want to work in small organization. They would prefer to go and work in places where they will be able to learn more, where they will be able to have career opportunity, they will be able to have career progression, they will have opportunity to learn from their colleagues in that cybersecurity field and expand their skills. So they will not be looking at SMB. So this is not an option for small businesses. So there are three solutions we have identified. One of them is outsourcing. Using third-party specialists. The second one is using consolidated, centralized platform. And lastly, which is something Innovate is pushing, cybersecurity maturity assessments. So look at the three quickly. So the first option, which is third-party security specialists, we are talking about working with MDR and MSP. MDR and MSP will be able to help you, give you the expertise and the capacity at the same time. MDR is managed detection and response, MSP is managed services provider. So they will be able to give you that expertise and capacity that you don't have as a service. So they will provide expert analysis for you. They will help you to monitor your environment, and they will be able to identify and investigate if there are issues, respond to suspicious activity 24 hours. If there's an attack or adversary, they will be able to stop them before they impact your business. So you'll be wondering what's the difference between MDR and MSP. We have, I think the difference is what we have shared here, but most of the MSP are all MDR. So their service is more interwoven in terms of what they do. But what is important, whether you want to choose an MDR or an MSP, is one, you have to look at the one that can adapt to your needs and your environment. Depending on what you have, depending on the tools you have, they can work with you with your current situation. And you also need to check another criteria you have to look at is whether you want to do it all the way. Maybe you want to fully outsource, or you want to do partially. Maybe you want to do it in partnership with your team. Maybe your team handling certain parts, while the MSP or MDR handling certain parts. So they will be able to, either you want to outsource detection, threat detection and response, or you want to do it together. So you must check your structure and look at your capacity to decide on that one. And lastly, very, very important, you must, the MDR or MSP must be able to use the data within your organization, the infrastructure that you already have, the security infrastructure. Some MSP can say, oh, they only work with this platform and you don't have that platform, they work with that platform. So you need to check that they are an MSP that can work with the platform that you have. So that is using third-party cybersecurity provider. So my organization, Innovate Solution, this is part of the services we offer as MDR and managed services, as I said earlier. So the second option is centralized consolidated security platforms. Centralized security consolidated platform is a platform that has all the tools effectively for you to address cybersecurity challenge. But one of the things we are talking about, maybe I'll talk about the tools a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we are talking about the centralized tools that has so many things in place as depicted here, incident response, security operations, NDR, network security. I mean, that gamut of solutions centrally and consolidated together in one platform. Though as SMB, you may not need all these, but central to it is that they are all AI native. So for small businesses looking for enterprise, for small businesses, this is a viable solution because it allows you to have technical capacity that is designed and suitable for you to use without heavy investment on IT overhead. So it will also help you to reduce overhead in terms of having people to manage multiple infrastructure. But I think for you to make this choice to look at what you will use to deploy, to monitor and manage various security solutions, you need to check certain criteria, which are very, very important. You need to look at a platform that allows you to monitor and manage multiple solutions in one place, e.g. endpoint, antivirus. I mentioned earlier, most MSB only have endpoint and antivirus, but we are looking at something that can allow you to manage endpoint, antivirus, email security, firewall, and the likes. So this will reduce time and effort used to manage multiple platforms. I mean, jumping from one platform to the other, and one platform for antivirus, another platform for email, another platform for email security, another platform for antivirus. So you will be able to manage multiple, you will not be managing multiple vendors, but you have a central platform. And the beauty of it is that you'll be able to control, have a common policy that can now apply to all those platforms. For example, users and database will be central on this kind of platform. So another consideration is you need to look at the features. Yes, these tools come because they are built for enterprise. They come with several features, but you don't need all of them as an SMB. So you need to ask yourself that question: what do I need? And what do I need to do in terms of this feature? Which one applies to me as an organization? So there's a long list of cybersecurity features, but that are paraded by these vendors, but you need to look at which one is good for me, which one is useful. Another important is they must have important feature is that they must have easy configuration, easy deployment, auto configuration management, so that you don't bother yourself with all this heavy configuration. Easy click and you have your system in place. So to avoid misconfiguration, because if it is complex and you misconfigure the system and you leave yourself exposed, and it will take a lot to fix it if something goes wrong. So lastly, it must be automated. I mean, something that can give you automated threat response for small organization that you only want to focus on your business. You don't want to be managing devices. So you must have something that is automated and can work 24 hours. Yes, I mentioned earlier the challenge of SMB not having something that can work outside working hour for them. So automated threat response is very important. So it buys you time if something happens off working hour, and so that at least manages this issue before you now step in and have actually look into them. So this is two critical areas. The platform and product features are critical in selecting centralized security platform. So I also want to mention, we'll not do more on this because these are some of the features. Critical to it is AI. I mean, it is the age of AI. You need a complete solution that unifies so many technology together at affordable cost, and it is AI. It has AI capacity because ransomware today is evolving, and AI is also evolving. You must also look at a system that looks at threat intelligence, that look at behavioral analysis, that look at that can do scanning for you, that can make insights from your data or for whatever is happening on your network. So it must be AI native. So these are critical things. It must be automatic to stop threat. It must be able to mitigate risk. It must be able to do investigation and respond to threat. It must do threat hunting all by itself. So these are some of the features that you must look at when you are selecting. So lastly, on consolidated platform is that, yes, a lot of SMB use same solution. Once someone is using one particular OEM or vendor, everybody just believe it is the best. But you need to look at independent report assessment that evaluates all these solutions like the magic quadrant. For example, for endpoint protection platform, the centralized one, you can begin to look at this. If you're looking at this, you will see the leaders. So you will know that, okay, these are people, vendors that have been evaluated and they have ability to execute and they have vision for the future. So it's not just because it's the popular name, it's because on the magic quadrant, this is where they belong. They are challengers, they are visionaries, they are leaders. So you need to look at all this in making your choice. So, for example, you can check ransomware protection. What does the magic quadrant say? Who is number one? Who is number two? Who is number three? Advanced security, attack detection, automated threat prevention. At least these 4 areas with endpoint protection, you can use it as one of your yardstick to decide. This is as at May 2025. So SMBs most times choose just because others are using it, but take a critical look at these very important platforms, quadrants, in order to make your choice. So lastly, one of the ways by which we can help, besides the fact that we can also help you in choosing a consolidated platform, we can provide managed services, is that we have something we call cybersecurity maturity assessment. Yeah, because one of the challenge of most organizations is that they just buy tools and you just plug in 1 or 2 tools, 3 tools, and believe that you are covered. But you are not covered because you are not looking at what you have end to end. So one of the things we can do is what we call comprehensive risk assessments for your organization, which is almost similar to what CBN was asking the OFIs and MMBs to be doing in terms of bringing a cybersecurity company to come and evaluate them. So a cybersecurity maturity assessment is checks how prepared, how ready your organization is ready to prevent, to detect an attack if it happens, and also to respond to threats that is there within your system. And how to, you now, after looking at the prevention, the detection, and ability to respond, you now define your remediation roadmap. What do you need to do? What do we need to put in place? Because oftentimes, this is a challenge for most organizations, but the assessment will help you look at beyond the technical preparedness, but also look at, do you have the right people, the right process, the right technology? So you will also be able to understand what are my vulnerabilities. You'll be able to identify and prioritize areas that you need to remediate, and you'll be able to, comply with what industry standards. So the cybersecurity maturity assessment is a very good platform. What it will do is that we do gap analysis, identify the gaps in your system. You'll be able to check how mature you are, comparing you with other organizations in your categories. What does other organizations in your level have? Then you'll be able to rate you, and so that you know your rating, and you can now say, okay, this is where I am right now. This is where I want to belong. This is where I'm going to. So then you can now set an action plan on areas where you need to improve in terms of your security posture, and what you need to prioritize and what you don't need to bother yourself about. Because the truth is that you see, most organizations will say it is still happening to many banks, despite all the resources that they have, even for large organizations, you still find out that they are still being attacked. It's because there's no end-to-end assessment of their security posture, something looking at everywhere, not just because we are plugging in tools. So that is one of the methods. So other areas is, of course, managed security services. and proactive technology implementation, staff awareness training. These are 3 areas where we as an organization can help managed security service, as I mentioned earlier, where we are able to allow us to be a part of internal staff for cybersecurity and focus on your core rules. We are able to bring in best in class of platforms, AI tools, in terms of technology implementation, so that you can be defended against our adversary. And we do this kind of training often, self-awareness training. It's now mandatory for most organizations to document training. So we do this training so that your employee, which are your greatest assets and your best line of defense, can have the right awareness and program, the right knowledge across all their units. So these are one of the ways I believe that we can address this issue in SMBs. So recapping, we have come to the end of the presentation. Yes, we have looked at the cybersecurity skills shortage, and we have looked at the impact, which is lack of resources, lack of expertise. We have looked at how it impacts small businesses, how the small businesses can fold up or run out of business if they are attacked. We have also seen that it is not limited to, it's not a function of your size. It is a function of data that you have. People are probably looking at how to program to enter your system as SMBs. We also said that there are regulatory framework now by regulators to most of SMBs to protect them. It's already happening for the UFIs, which are banks, but it's also happening for the insurance, I'm sure, and other industries are also bringing out this kind of requirement for SMBs just because they are also very important. I've also looked at the way out, but it's partnering with third-party experts for provide managed security services like our organization so that they can fill the gap for you. We also talk about centralized solution for this management. We talk about CSMA, cybersecurity maturity assessment, where we can look at your security posture from where you are, what you need to do, not just about the tools that you have. And we also mentioned that managed services is one of the solutions, where you use third party to evaluate and to work with your organization. So thank you very much. We want to be sure that we don't exceed our 1 hour mark for this presentation. So if for all those that are part of this, we send this presentation to you by email. We send you more information on our cybersecurity maturity assessment. I must mention that we are going to be having an event in September with one of the top cybersecurity vendor. It's going to be a physical event. We are also going to share with you where we'll bring in CIOs, CTOs, IT specialists and likes, so that we can discuss about these new ways of handling cybersecurity issues. And for this presentation, we shared so many reports by multiple vendors and evaluators. It will be part of what we'll send to you. And if you're also interested in the recording of this webinar, we can also share with you. So you can reach us on our website, www.innovatesolutions.tech. Or info@innovatesolutions.tech. Numbers are there. We are based in Lekki. We usually have this kind of presentation webinar, very short and precise, straight to the point, every month. We hope we are not going to have another one in September. Besides the physical event, we hope you will still be able to join us. So if you have any question, feedback form has been shared. You can fill it. And if you need us to answer any question, you can reach out to us. We'll be able to respond to you. We hope this has been very informative.